Welcome to Total Training for Adobe Photoshop CS6 Extended Essentials. My name is Debbie Keller. I'm a teacher and an author of Adobe textbooks for Cengage Learning, including the ACA Certification Prep Basics Guide. I've also been recognized as an Adobe Education Leader since 2002. In this Essentials training, you'll be introduced to the nuts and bolts of Photoshop, from getting around the workspace, identifying design elements, and manipulating images, as well as setting project requirements. This Essentials series will prepare you to take the ACA Visual Communications exam. Let's begin by taking a look at the interface and creating a new document. Let's go ahead and get started and explore Photoshop. If you haven't done so yet, go ahead and open up the program. As you can see, I have it open on my screen. Photoshop can be quite intimidating when you first open it because of its composition of panels. On the left-hand side of our screen, we have the Tools panel, and we'll look at that as we need each tool throughout the series. On the right-hand side, we have what are called panel groupings. Panels are divided up into panel groups, and stacks of panel groups together are called a panel dock. So on the right-hand side of our screen, we have 3 panel groups and a panel dock in the expanded view. On the left-hand side of the panel dock, we have another panel dock that is comprised of 3 panel groups, and it's in icon view. As we look at the panel dock, you'll see the first panel grouping at the top has color and has swatches. Each panel has a tab on it with the title of the panel. So here we have the swatches panel and we have the color panel. That's a panel group. And you can see we have 2 more panel groups below that. So clicking on the tab will make that panel active in the panel group. So one panel in each group can be visible, and multiple panels can be viewed as long as you're in the expanded view on the panel dock. On the left-hand side, we have a panel dock that is in icon view. If I hover over an icon, you'll see the name pop up in a tooltip to tell us what that panel is. By clicking on the icon, we can expand the panel. By clicking on it again, we can collapse the panel. You'll notice right above that I have a group with 2 panels. If you don't see these, you can go up to Window and click on Histogram or Navigator, and both will show up here. If I click on the Navigator, you'll notice it opens up the panel group with the Navigator panel active. Or I can click on the histogram icon in icon view to open the group, and then click on the Navigator tab in the expanded view of that panel. Collapsing the panel can be done by either clicking the 2 little arrows that will collapse it back into its icon view, or we can click on the icon a second time when it's open and it will collapse it. The panel dock we have on the right-hand side, you'll notice, has the double arrows here at the top right that collapse to icons. So if we were to click this, we're going to collapse our view of our panel dock to icon view. Icon view is just what it sounds like. We're just going to see the icons for each panel, and when we click, we'll see the panel grouping, but the active panel will be the icon that we've clicked. And just like we did on the previous panel dock, I can click on the panel inside the panel group on that tab to make that panel active within that panel group. And I can click on the double-headed arrow to collapse it back into the icon view. And you'll see we can clearly tell that we have 3 panel groups in this panel dock by the division of these little lines. Again, clicking, you'll see I can only have 1 panel active at one time. As I click on a different icon, a different panel grouping becomes expanded. I click it again and it collapses it. If you don't feel comfortable looking at the icon view because you don't know what they mean yet, or you don't want to take the time to have to hover over each icon to see the tooltip, you can actually expand this so that you can see the icon and the title of the panel at the same time. You'll see my cursor has changed to double-headed arrow. When I hover over the gray bar between the 2 panel docks, I can click and drag to resize the panel dock so that I can now see the icon as well as the title of the panel. And it works just in the same way as it did when it was in icon view. I could do this for both panel docks if I wanted. Again, I'm going to hover over the left-hand side of the panel dock, and I'm going to click and drag, and I can bring out the title of the various panels. On the top right now, you'll see that the 2 little arrows have changed. They're now pointing to the left instead of to the right. When they're pointing to the left, they're now expand panels. So if I click on that double arrow, I'll be back into the expanded view of my panel dock. And I can do this on the one here on the left-hand side as well.
But you can see we're losing a lot of real estate for our document on the left-hand side if we leave them both open. I'm going to collapse back this one, and I'm going ahead and leave these open. Again, notice the difference. When I click on a panel in a panel group, that panel becomes active, and because I have 3 panel groups stacked on one another in a panel dock, I can actually see 3 active panels at one time, rather than in the other view where I can only see one at a time.